All right. Hi, everyone. We're going to be showing you our housing solutions with our predictive model. In my team, I have Anne, Hewat, Ralia, Diane, and of course me, Chris. First thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is our hypothesis. So our model aids investors and home buyers in choosing the best region in which to invest or purchase real estate based on housing value. Our purpose is to develop an algorithm that will identify whether your property investment will yield a profit. The first thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is our data cleaning process. And you can go to the next slide. So the first thing that we did in our data cleaning process was that we loaded our rolling sales data of the 5 boroughs into Python as a data frame. Next, we examined each column's name and determined which columns of information are relevant to the sales price of our model that we are building. Columns that are irrelevant to our sales price, such as apartment number or lot number, were dropped, which you guys can see in this snippet of code. After this, we combined each borough's data frame together to make a New York City data frame where we selected homes that had a sales price of over $100,000. We knew the year that the place was built, and the gross square foot or feet of the property was less than 2,500 square feet. Finally, upon final review of our combined New York City data frame, we noticed that there were still a few irrelevant columns that we opted to drop, like the land square feet, for example.
We now move on to pre-processing our data set. To do this, we first have to work on making sure all the columns in the data set we're building a model from are all numerical, or we won't be able to build one. The only one that isn't numerical is the neighborhood column, as it holds only the string data type. To convert them to a numerical value, we imported an encoding process to assign each unique neighborhood value with a numerical value. Now with this, we're ready to build a prediction model for our data set, which my teammate Hewat will tell you all about.
I will talk about our machine learning model. So we used a decision tree classifier because of the many factors that determines the sale price. So our inputs are the independent variables. And these features are the borough, the year built, the gross square feet, the sale year, and the neighborhood. And our target is the dependent variable, and that is the sale price. So first we created a model that is called model. Then we trained our model to check the performance. As you can see, we have a 90% accuracy. Next, in cell 42, we checked our model using the value we know from the first row in our data set for accuracy. So we predicted a house in Manhattan. One represents for Manhattan that is built in 2003 with a 2,160 square feet that was sold in 2021. And it has a predicted price of $3,025,000. And that is the same value in our data frame with the same features. And similarly in cell 43, for a house in the Bronx, to represent for the Bronx, with 2,200 square feet sold in 2022, the predicted price is $810,000. And that is a reasonable price in the Whitestone neighborhood. Next, Raliat will show us the data.
Okay, so we have two data visualizations here. Our first chart is basically our predicted versus actual sale price values for houses built from the 1800s up until 2020. As you can see on the chart, you'll see that from 1800s to 1900s, the predicted versus actual was pretty close. And then after the 1900s, the actual sale price was actually much higher in most cases than the predicted sale price. Moving on to our second visualization, here we just have various neighborhoods in all of the 5 boroughs shown here on this chart. And the yellow is the average on the lower end, when moving up to orange and red, which is on the higher end of average sale price based on zip code. As I hover over the various dots, it'll show you based on zip code, the average sale price. I'm just gonna zoom in a bit more. You'll notice that there's some orange and red, and this is of course Manhattan. As a New York City resident, we all know that Manhattan is probably one of the most expensive boroughs to live in. So you'll see more orange and red in this area and zone. So based on our data and visualizations, our prediction model has 90% accuracy in our code, although our dashboard shows differently. So we should look more into it to understand the problems behind it. Overall, though, our model still shows some accuracy in our dashboard. So we believe we're taking the right steps towards perfecting this model. So that concludes the end of our presentation. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them.